Hi, Assalamualaikum. This is Ramala with Ramala's Projects, and I just want to show you something. This is an experimental batch of vinegar that I'm making. Yep, it's in the process, just experimental. And I've got some red grapes here, which are immersed in sugar water since about a week now. They've been fermenting. They let off some really delicious smells, which attracted some bugs. But we keep this covered with 2 layers of clothing, actually, because sometimes the bugs can sit at the cloth and drop their eggs into this thing, which we don't want. So we got 2 layers of clothing so that they can do their business on the first layer, and this remains safe. Anyway, this is vinegar. This is going to be, inshallah, when it's made, hopefully successfully. I don't know what stage is it at right now. Probably in the process of turning into alcohol or something. It first turned into grape juice, red grape juice, really healthy, very nice, zesty aromas and vibe coming from it. And at some point, I suppose it's going to turn alcoholic, and then when it keeps on fermenting for a while, it's going to turn into vinegar. And so what are we going to do with this vinegar? You see, I have a few objectives behind this. First of all, organic vinegar is healthy, and I've been looking for fruit vinegars for a while, starting with apple cider vinegar, and then of course graduating onto things like grape vinegar, red grape vinegar, which is extremely healthy. Don't mind the traffic noises in the background. We are very near the highway, and I just want you to look into this forest just for the views, just for the vibes. The other thing about organic vinegar, there are certain reasons why I want to get into this thing and start this thing going. I tried to get other people to do it, but they wouldn't do it for me or with me, because it just wouldn't do it. And you'll understand why a minute or so into this, a minute or so later. So we want fruit vinegar for health. We want this as one of the products that we can create out of the fruits and other produce, especially of the mountain communities that I live in. Here we go. Take a look at the mountains, yeah? The third thing, of course, is that it becomes a mini source of mini income for mountain communities and people. The fourth thing is, and hello, I've spotted some mushrooms. Wow, by the cow dung too. The fourth thing is that, well, it's somehow related to the first three things. It improves your health, and we want to improve people's health in a time when medical systems, I know, would be failing people. For one thing, there are, and there always will be, a lot of people, especially poor people, but also people of other social strata that are not the rich or the super rich, who will not have access to good enough healthcare and products and medicine. And even if they have access to medicine, the medicine doesn't entirely heal. Yep, the medicine doesn't entirely heal them. And so back to the marigolds, away from the sound of the traffic a little bit. And yeah, the other reason, okay, I don't know if I'm at reason number 4 or 5 right now, but yeah, it gives people a mini source of mini income. Another reason is that vinegar actually warms up your body quite well. It detoxes it, it cleanses it, helps people, especially in the mountain communities that we are at. I don't know if they would be interested in the vinegar or not. At least I am for my health. So I'll speak for myself now and not for other people, because I don't want to speak at or for them. Vinegar helps you at this high altitude that we live at and in this cold to remain warm. And as many of you would know, or at least some of you would know, that typically at such high altitudes, even in Himalayan and Karakoram communities, including even the so-called Muslim communities, which are supposed to be not into consuming alcohol personally for our bodies. I mean, we can consume alcohol as a cleaning substance or whatever, but not consume orally in our bodies. So anyway, even in these communities, in order to remain heated in winters, people say they need or they use alcohol, whether that's an excuse to use a substance that induces pleasure, or whether that's a need. I'm not going to talk about that, but I would say yes, definitely people need some substances that are nutritious and that keep them warm and fuzzy. And guess what? Vinegar can do that for you. I actually make herbal teas, and I add vinegar, apple cider vinegar or apricot vinegar to it, or even cherry vinegar. And it's delicious. It's delicious. It gives you this warm kick. It gives you a cleansing and refreshing feeling. So I can, by extension, understand how wine must make people feel. I've never tasted wine, but I can understand. I can understand, since vinegar is a close relative of wine, just a further maturation of wine and wine and fermented juices, alcoholic fermented juices. I can understand what it must mean. The other next reason is a bit religious or spiritual to me, since I would want to avoid alcohol. But I'm curious about the fact that in the Quran, it doesn't outright say that alcohol is forbidden or haram. It says alcohol has several benefits, but because its harms outweigh its benefits, it is forbidden to you as a substance to be consumed personally, to be eaten basically as an edible substance. So I'm paraphrasing the line. I mean, it basically says it's forbidden to you. I'm curious about the fact that the scriptures took the time to say that alcohol has some benefits. So what's the deal? I think on the one hand, the scriptures have hinted that it has some industrial uses and benefits. I'm not talking about consumption yet, of edibility yet. I'm just talking about industrial applications of alcohol. So it's not like outright forbidden. You can use it. And then there are a lot of forbidden things which can be used industrially. And of course, there are lots of things which are absolutely not edible, but are absolutely used industrially and otherwise. So why this little hint? I do think there are possibly some medical applications of alcohol, and though I would still want to avoid it. But anyway, so there are some fatawas. Fatawas are religious, basically jurisprudential edicts that or judgments which basically give a judgment about a matter. And according to some of these fatawas, some of these judgments, alcohol is allowed as part of homeopathic medicine, for instance, and as tinctures that are useful for your health. And hold on, I'm going to show you a little tree elf here. Yeah, that's my kid playing in the forest. Yep. Okay, so using vinegar instead of wine actually, in my view, gives us the benefits of wine minus the alcoholicity of it. So that's a great, fantastic idea. I would have wanted to encourage, I'm sorry about all the plastic in this forest next door to ours. It's owned by a landlord, and there's plastic here that I can see. And sometimes the cows come here and we feed them, not right now. So we drop some food for them over the wall. Yep, that's the wall. Okay, and children go play in the forest. So yeah, basically I had wanted to encourage people to make vinegar instead of wines. So that gives them some health benefits. That gives them a new source of income. It utilizes fruit, sometimes fruit which is over mature and not fit for consumption anymore. And on the verge of being fermented, that is very good fruit that you can use for basically making vinegar. So you can make use of it. You can make it a source of income. It is good for fruit preservation. It is good for using fruit, as I've already said, that is on the verge of getting spoiled. So basically controlling food wastage as well. So there are so many holistic benefits of vinegar, consuming vinegar, and making vinegar as a product at a small cottage industry level. I wouldn't want to go for a larger level than that. I don't want to make it very industrial, very fossil fuel consuming. I wouldn't want it to be produced in ways that are that consume a lot of fossil fuel. That's all I want to say. I want to get these vinegar batches made in small batches on small scale in homes using traditional methods preferably. And I would love it if different families brewed their own vinegar and labeled it with their family name, and then the year and the season of production, and maybe even some details about the fruit, the quality of fruit, the kind of fruit that they used, and the different varieties of fruit that were used. There's so much that can be done. So there's a lot of potential that we're looking at. But I am just, after having tried to talk to a lot of people, trying to convince them to brew vinegar. We are actually brewing vinegar at home. My first batch, I'm going to try. Let's see what happens. So I've given you a mini garden tour, and just decided to make a spontaneous video, which I hope some of you would enjoy. So I would encourage you to also learn from some source that you trust how to make some vinegar. Start trying at home, see if you can make it, and maybe once you've made it, at least use it yourself.